The Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast returns to the UK Games Expo this year. We're running a live episode on Friday the 30th from 12 till 1, where we want to meet our listeners. We want you to come and join in on the show, get involved, or just come and participate, bring your lunch and rest your feet for a while. We hope to see you there and hope you have an amazing UK Games Expo.
Welcome to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and, of course, board games. I'm Becky, your current first player, and I'm joined by other players JP.
Hello.
And Adrian.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about conventions this week. But before we do that, how is everyone doing today? JP, tell me.
All good, yeah. The sun is out, the sun is shining, and that just makes me happy.
I'm slightly annoyed because the weather forecast yesterday said we would do 4 hours where there was potentially going to be thunderstorms in it. So I was really hoping for 4 hours of thunderstorms, and it'd be quite cool. I know it's not the best thing for people getting struck by lightning or whatever, but
It's great to watch.
thunderstorms are cool, right? Nothing. 20 minutes of rain and that was it.
Oh,
The sun did come out, which is cool afterwards, but I felt a bit disappointed that we didn't get thunderstorms.
yeah.
Well, I wanted a barbecue yesterday, and I didn't plan one because it was going to
It
rain.
was supposed to rain.
And it rained for, like you said, 20 minutes max, and then that was it. It's like,
Sad
bastard.
times. I spent the weekend in a little village called Croyd, which is like a little seaside village with some girls from work, and it was really, really good, and the weather was beautiful, but very tiring because we did a massive hike on the coast.
You had a ramble.
It was not what ramble, it was a hike. There was a massive hill.
Was
and
the sticks involved?
we should have had sticks.
Yeah.
I would have been much better with a stick.
Coastal path.
Yeah. But it was so beautiful. The weather was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You picked a good weekend.
yeah, it was really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, leading on to our first section, let's talk about Hex. Adrian, let's throw it to you. What have you been playing?
I've played a few games recently, but most of them have been talked about either recently or we talked about them enough. Galactic Cruises was really good. I got a first playthrough finally of Beyond the Sun, which was also good, but I won't talk about those because we talked about them a lot anyway. So I'm going to do something I really try not to do, which is now talk about a game that's out of print and there's no chance it's coming back in print.
Oh no, so tell people what they could have won.
Yeah, so which I really try to avoid because then you get people potentially hyped about a game that's very expensive or hard to get hold of or both. But Blood Bowl Team Manager, the card game, is an old favourite of mine. So way back when FFG and Games Workshop had a very good thing going, and then again it's kind of a little bit. There's lots of people give reasons why that relationship split up, but for one reason or another it did, and it's not getting back together again. And unfortunately, they made a very good game called Blood Bowl Team Manager, the game. So anyone who doesn't know what Blood Bowl is, it's basically like fantasy American football. It's normally played with miniatures on a sort of gridded map, the main one. But the Team Manager card game is exactly that. It's designed to kind of replicate the feel of a game. It's not really a game of Blood Bowl. It's supposed to replicate the feel of a tournament of Blood Bowl. So you play 5 tournaments or 5 rounds, of which there'll be 3 tournaments between them. And each player has a faction. So, for instance, recently I had Wood Elves, who I don't really get on with, but you pick it at random. Normally that's kind of what the rules tell you to do, is pick it at random. But we had a Goblin player and a Skaven player and humans and someone else. I can't remember what their team was. Vampires, maybe? I can't think now. And everyone gets their own like deck of cards, and all you're doing is you're playing on them. They've got a player. Each deck is just made up of a bunch of players, and you place one down. There's like 5 pitches, like these little cards that are just pitches that have bonuses if you play in that game, and only 2 teams can play in that game. So once there's 2 teams at a game, it's locked because you've got one each side, like in the game of American football.
Sense.
And so you're playing players into one side or the other. And if you just put your person down there, if you've still got a team there at the end of the game, you get that bonus. And then in the middle, there's a like a bonus for being victorious in that match, basically. So normally the middle thing is the good thing that you want to get. And so you take it in turns to play players, and they'll do a number of different things. They'll move the ball that's on the pitch towards you, or towards if it's the opponent's side, it'll move it towards them. It will allow you to hit someone. So you pick someone, normally someone who's squishier than you are, and you'll pick them and try and hit them, just a couple of dice. And a bit like Blood Bowl, there's kind of different options on the Blood Bowl dice. Not quite as many with this, but it's kind of doing the same thing. Or you'll cheat, which is another thing that's in Blood Bowl, which gives you like a negative or bonus points, or might send a player off at the end of the game, but that's all hidden information. And the final thing you'll do is called sprinting, which basically means that you will get to, it's a bit hand management, you get to chuck away a cheap player and draw from your deck. So you're trying to kind of get the good players into your hand.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's just a bit of hand management. And what happens is, obviously, you'll go around in circles and everyone will play their players from their hand into the team, into a game. And there's not always, 3 out of the 5 turns, there's a tournament on. And anyone can join that tournament as well. So there's 5 games going on for 5 players, I think it is. No, I can't think. Yeah, it'd be 5 games for 5 players. And then there's a tournament as well that everyone can go into. And you're just kind of playing this like, it's a bit like an area control game, really. You're trying to get the most points on your side of the pitch to win the game. Yeah. And normally moving the ball towards you helps with that, but doesn't actually, like a game of Blood Bowl, if you're an orc player, you might not care about getting a good score. You might just care about beating other people up. So it kind of has a good feel for Blood Bowl. And it does a great job of being a bit like a sort of a smash up, or one of those sort of area control card games similar to that. And it's just a load of fun. And I forgot how much fun it was. Now, I didn't have a particularly good time with the Wood Elves, if I'm honest. And I've missed out a bunch of rules around getting upgrades and fan factor and all the stuff that any Blood Bowl player would probably know a little bit about. And the team upgrades are not a thing that's in normal Blood Bowl, but it does allows you to play upgrades that tailor it more towards your style. So you kind of want to bring those out. So being a Wood Elf player, I'm particularly ball orientated. So moving the ball towards me pretty much happens on half the cards. The other thing that happens a lot is sprinting. So I get to cycle through my deck and get all the good players in the right position, which is kind of a Wood Elf thing, right? Whereas an Orc player will just be hitting lots of things, cheating occasionally, all that lot. The Goblin player, all it does is cheat, and all of its rules are ridiculous, like throw this Goblin to another game. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll take this Goblin and pick it up and put it over there. And it's just really fun, really kind of encapsulates that feeling of Blood Bowl. But there's a few like really tricky bits in it to watch out for. So you can because you can't be in the same game twice, you can actually lock yourself into just one game. So most people will be at two games out of the 5 pitches in a 5-player game. Because that's kind of makes sense, right? You've got one player on each side, you'll get into 2 games. If you're not careful, people can lock you out, so you're only in one game and therefore you're a little bit behind. And if there's no tournament, that is it. You've got one game. If not, you tend to go hard into the tournament sort of thing. And if a player basically like knocks out and kills all of your players on the team, that space becomes open again. So someone else can then start launching into your game. Like they just randomly turn up and start playing in your game. Yeah. So there's a couple of like really tricksy bits that if you're not careful can really catch you out on it. But that feels very Blood Bowl-y to me as well, because it's very much, there's a bit of luck in there, and there's a bit of sort of cutthroatness and a bit of sort of just trying to remember. For me, a big bit of Blood Bowl is trying to remember what to do first and to do things in a certain order. And it becomes second nature eventually, just like the card game. And Mark Monk had put up that he'd had a tournament recently, and then a few friends who I used to play it with a long time ago, sort of we were all meeting up again, and I was like, let's do that again. So I had a dreadful time with Wood Elves, and the Skaven player who won it managed to get an upgrade out that every time they lost a match, they got 2 victory points. So they were just trying to get in as many,
tank
it,
which is Skaven. They're like rat people, so they're kind of like skittery and quick and all that kind of stuff. But they cheat a bit as well, so it's kind of underhanded like Skaven are. So he was just trying to get into as many games as possible,
in order to lose
but just not really
out.
putting too much into anything, sort of thing. Just because he kept getting sick. Like I think he got it out in the first round. So then after that, he was just he's getting almost like 4 to 6 points just from being in games, whether he won them, lost them, whatever sort of thing. So So really enjoyable. As I say, unfortunately, there's 2 expansions, which luckily my group has got. It's not my copy, but the group got it ages ago, and they've still got the 2 expansions, which are now really hard to get hold of. Like, you can kind of get hold of Blood Bowl Team Manager, but the actual expansions are really hard to get hold of. Yeah.
So why would you play, as someone who's never played either Blood Bowl or this card game, why would you play the card game over regular Blood Bowl? Is it close enough, or is it just very similar? Or?
They're 2 very different things. One is very much like a war game. So the main Blood Bowl is very much a war game dressed up as an American football game. And the design of Blood Bowl is very much around either league play or tournament play. So you'll play several matches in the week or in a day or whatever. Or like if it's a league, quite often leagues are like 3 to 4 months. And you'll play every week, and then your team develops over time. Yeah. And that's where these kind of team upgrades and upgrading your deck with extra players and star players and all that lot that you can do all sort of simulates that feel. And the card game is just like a game of Blood Bowl is a couple of hours. And as I say, normally you can play one-off Blood Bowl games. That's normally what I've done previously. Yeah. You can do it, but it's kind of tailored towards the idea of a tournament or a league. So you're normally committing to a lot of time, whereas the card game... It doesn't play like Blood Bowl, but it gives you similar feels. Like if you've played Blood Bowl before, you'll feel right at home with, and it's sort of, I'm playing as a high elf player or whatever. I know exactly a dwarf player. I know exactly what I've got to do here.
What to expect from it, yeah.
So so it gives you those vibes, but it's very much just an area control card game. As I say, the one that always comes to mind is Smash Up. So if you're used to like Smash Up or anything like that as a game, you'll kind of start to feel where you're at with Blood Bowl Team Manager as well. So. Yeah, I had a great day. I don't like Wood Elves, but I don't like them in Blood Bowl either. So I think that's just a thing. But yeah, I had a load of fun. Got to play with some old mates, which is good. And unfortunately, it's not available. There's a few of that Warhammer 40k and Warhammer stuff that was produced with FFG that's just not around anymore. Unfortunately, it's a bit like Battlestar Galactica. It's never coming back. Right? They're not going to work together ever again.
It's not going to happen. I really want to play it. I love Blood Bowl. Never had the opportunity to play the team manager, but yeah, if it ever comes along, I will absolutely give it a whirl. It sounds cool.
It is.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Good. JP, what's been on your table?
Well, not actually on my table. So last episode I mentioned I was going away for a gaming retreat for David Turcey and family and friends. And I'm back now. I went there.
Had a smile on his face the entire time.
In the past, this happened. Yeah, I had an awesome time, fantastic time. Met loads of cool people, many of David's playtesters, and met his brother Adam. So if you're listening, Adam, hello. And played lots of stuff that I can't mention. So that's kind of annoying and frustrating. Ooh, you're special. But what I will talk about is a game that kind of surprised me, which is Pirates of Maracaibo. Because it surprised me.
I heard about it, but never played it.
So David says, "Oi, JP, come and play this." And I was like, yeah, sure. I wasn't really that bothered by it, if I'm being honest. I used to own Maracaibo, the big boy, and I enjoyed it, had my time with it, played it 4 or 5 times, and moved it on. It was kind of like, it was what it was, you know? And so I wasn't expecting a lot from this little brother, Pirates, but God, I really enjoyed it.
It's going to be better. It's got pirates.
Yeah, it is better. I know, spoiler alert. I think it's better than Maracaibo. Now, why is it and what is it? So, well, basically, in Pirates of Maracaibo, you were playing pirates, and we did the expansion, which I cannot remember what the hell the expansion's called, but it added proper asymmetrical pirate powers in, and it had new figureheads for your boat that you could kind of get throughout the game. It was cool. It did what it did. So, the board isn't really a board. It's a bunch of cards arranged in kind of columns in kind of a staggered alternating pattern. And you do have some card pieces that are representing these islands that are kind of signifying the value of 3 different gems or precious goods. So you've got pearls and emeralds and stuff like that. And just like regular Maracaibo, you have a ship. And your ship, you'll move 1 to 3 cards or columns ahead. And you can kind of go up and down and you can kind of sail around to a particular card and then you can do an action. And there are, depending on the card you're going to, it will depend on the action. So if it's a general ship or equipment card, like compass or telescope or whatever, you can buy it using your doubloons and basically put that into your little tableau, and Bobby Dazzler, you've got something, usually giving you money or VP income, which is always nice. Everyone likes a bit of income, don't they? Or you can go to an island or a specific place, and when you do that, you get to basically put a grey cube onto your pirate ship, and then your pirate ship has all these different windows in it where it unlocks you either one-off abilities or ongoing powers and effects and abilities, whatever. And what's cool about that, I think, just like regular Maracaibo, is you've got your first bank of abilities, which you can choose freely from, and then once you've put I think it's like 8 of your grey cubes, you unlock the next tier, and then you unlock the next tier. So the more you put down, you'll get more, but you'll never do them all. It's kind of choosing and picking what you want to kind of lean into, which I always like because it just makes it a bit different every time you play. So you're doing that, and if you want to kind of do any raiding at these islands, you can you've got these 3 dice, a yellow, a white, and a green. Roll the dice, and then off you go. You can kind of re-roll Yahtzee style, I think, once as well, if you want to kind of get different numbers. And then depending on what you've rolled, you can kind of raid and do different raid abilities. So just think of it as costs. If you got 6 on the dice, you can spend 2 of the swords to get some money, or you can do something else or whatever. So just different things you can do. So you kind of just like sailing along, and the other players are doing the same. And then when you get to the end, where you get to the bay, you're basically triggering the end of the round. So if you're first to get there, you'll get a bonus. So it kind of encourages you to rush there, but if you rush there, you're not getting everything. So it's like, if you hold back, you're getting lots of things, but if you're the back and then someone's rushing, you're probably not going to get to the cards maybe you want. So it's that tussle of what's everyone else doing, which is Maracaibo all over, which is where am I, what are you doing, how are we getting
And it's
there?
also like Dog Park.
Park.
But very much more basic,
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, you're picking up balls and buying a dog, of course.
And on the bay area, you've got kind of a land expedition, again, very similar to Maracaibo, where you can move your meeple across some different benefits, getting things as you go as well, which is pretty cool. It's once you've done that, you'll reset and you'll do 2 more rounds. So it's 3 rounds. I think Maracaibo was 4 from memory. But so Pirates of Maracaibo is 3. The other way you kind of get big scoring is you'll have, what do they call them? The big kind of building settlements or something. And they usually cost a lot of doubloons. They're like 18 or something. You're like, oh God, how am I going to get that? But you build your engine up and you eventually do it. And that usually unlocks a multiplier at the end of the game. So yeah, kind of reset, rinse, repeat. And you've kind of got different tiered decks of cards. So the initial round, you'll have lots of 1s. Once you start buying them or taking them, you'll put the 2s down in place, so they'll get marginally better as the game goes on. And then once you've done 3 rounds, bish, bash, bosh, you're done. And for me, what I liked about it was its speed. So it's kind of like Maracaibo, the big game. It's giving you everything that's kind of what the game is, but you can play it in an hour. So it's like, oh, wow. And you still got a bit of crunch in there, and you still got a bit of thinking in there. It doesn't... Whilst it is probably lighter, I don't think it loses a lot in its shrinking down. I think it just makes it more compact and just keeps the playtime really snappy. So you're like, I'm doing this shit, doing that, you'll go. I'll do my shit, move that thing, buy that, you'll go. So, it's really fast. And I really appreciated that. But yeah, it surprised me.
It's nice for a change, isn't it? Not having to wait around the agonies of trying to make the best move ever.
Yeah, it's just fun. Just fun. Yeah, really enjoyed it. And I think the expansion added forts that you can kind of fight, and then when you take that fort, you can put it on a particular space in your board, and then it starts unlocking powers and effects, and you start chaining a few things together. Nothing mad, so you can kind of do that, and also add rum barrels. Who doesn't want rum barrels? You're a pirate, and you can kind of get rum. And also has these black market tiles that you have, and it's a bit like Great Western Trail, like the buildings. So you can put the black market tiles onto specific islands and places, so that when you visit them, you're getting bonuses as you visit them. So it's kind of like some little seedy things there, which is cool. So yeah, and you can also kind of get treasure, and you can bury that treasure using spades.
Nice.
I quite like that.
Proper pirating.
Yeah, you kind of getting stuff and hoarding it into your little hideout, and then basically digging it away and stuff. It was cool. Really enjoyed it for what it was. I was like, shall I get that? I'm like, don't know, but yeah, I'd recommend it if you've not played Maracaibo at all. I'd say just pick the Pirates one up because it's fast.
Yeah, that's the one that's speaking to me.
And
not,
you like
not
pirates,
just because it's
actually.
pirates, but that is a big part of it. Yeah.
So
maybe
it's piratey and
have you got it?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, but I would absolutely play it again. Fun little game.
So you said the board is sort of modular, basically, because it's these cards put together, and then you said you sort of at the end of each round you get to a bay. So do you? But then I thought, maybe you'll reset.
No.
But then you sort of said, you put buildings down. So when you get to the bay, do you just go back to the beginning and start again? You kind of
reset. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very Maracaibo, which is you get to the end, it's like, right, we're done. End of round. Everyone back to the start again. But the trouble is, not the trouble, but the difference is that because you sailed across the path, or everyone has, picking cards up, refreshing new cards back down.
Right,
so therefore, the board state has changed for your next run.
Right,
so there's new things to buy, there's new things to check out, there's new things to see. So it's an ever-evolving board.
It's because you never cross the same bit of water twice.
No, exactly. So new things might happen. It might be this time there's a new island that's been discovered or whatever. So it kind of thematically makes sense, but so don't think of it as I'm sailing the exact same parts of the sea. It's a new route, but mechanically it's the same.
Yeah, when you said it was modular, I thought, maybe you're going to choose a different layout as if you're going to a different place in the second round sort of thing. So I thought, okay.
No.
But yeah, it makes still a modular board setup, isn't it?
Pirates go pirating and doing things. So it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Good.
How about you, Bex?
Well, I realise I haven't played any games since I know. What I have been doing is watching a lot of TV, which is something I very, very rarely do.
What have you been watching?
So I watched the entire of Severance.
Yeah, I need to watch this.
Which is really good. So no spoilers, but a guy goes down to his kind of office and he forgets everything that's happened that isn't in the office. And then when he comes back home again and goes back up in the elevator, he forgets everything that happens at work. And you're like, is there secrets at work? What is going on? And it reminded me a little bit of Lost.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever kind of watched Lost, I mean, the trouble with Lost was
there's a lot of trouble with Lost.
Well, yes, but every single episode raised more bloody questions. There was no answers ever.
Yeah.
This is a little bit similar, but not quite as bad as that. But the premise is really interesting. It's really good. And then I rewatched, not really safe for kids, so don't listen to this, children. It's a BBC series called Harlots, which is all about brothels in the 1760s London.
This sounds right on my street.
It is a really, really good programme.
We're not in London.
It's really good.
I love London.
The characters and I've watched it before, but I don't know what made me watch it again, but the characters and the storylines, it's just so good.
Oh, cool.
Probably not very realistic, I would hope, but there we go. Yeah, really, really good.
Harlots.
If you've seen Downton Abbey, the youngest, like Lady Sybil, the posh lady, she's like the head harlot, and you just think, oh, Lady Sybil, what happened to you?
Yeah,
this
gone
has
down
changed.
in the world.
You're not living in the shiny house anymore. But it's really good.
Yeah.
Would recommend it. Yeah, so that's all I've been doing.
You've not been playing any games?
No, I mean I've been sort of working on the live episode for our convention episode, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's the the nearest to a game I've been, really. Yeah, so
get you playing some more, Bex.
I haven't even played Ark Nova.
I mean that surprised
I
me
know.
and everyone.
Oh yeah, this is it. But I've been keeping a really good track this year, which I would recommend everyone does actually, on one of those kind of like game tracker apps. I can't remember what the one we use is called.
BG Stats.
There we go, BG Stats. And I just kind of scrolled and it's like, oh, I haven't played any more. But it's actually, I've played a lot more than I thought I had. If I'd have just been using my memory to go, what have I played this year?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting.
I find that app extremely useful for when sitting down to do this recording for that reason.
Yeah.
Which is like, right, what am I going to talk about? And I go, right, I'll thumb through and have a look and go, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this thing. Yeah. And now I've done it for, I don't know how many years I've been doing it. 5?
Yeah, no, it's fun. This is my first year.
Yeah.
But do you record your games?
I don't record my games. No, the thing I do is that as soon as I've played a game, I rate it on BGG.
Oh, okay.
And then
So that kind of helps.
So it kind of helps,
Yeah.
because I also like at the beginning or end of the year doing sort of the top 100, doing the pub meeple thing.
It's good fun, though.
Yes,
So if you've rated it, then it pulls it into that, and then quite often there's a bit of I've accidentally rated 2 versions of the same game sort of thing or whatever. So you'll have to delete all that out. But it's good. And then normally, if I've played something like 3 or 4 times, and then I notice my sort of opinion on it's changed as I've played it a bit more, I'll go back in and re-rate it, whether it's better or worse. I'll go back in and re-rate it, so I still kind of keep a track of what I've played, but not every time I've played it who's got what scores, all that kind of stuff.
I'm not, I mean, it's never me the scoring the highest, so I shouldn't bother keeping the score, but I do, because it's boxes to be filled in, isn't it? So that's fine. But I do like the fact that you can see how many games you play, especially when you do like a board gaming weekend and you've got like just a ton in there. I just really like that.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of cool.
that.
But then also when you do look back in the year and you go, Christ, how many have I played this? This is mad. How many hours? I don't care. It's great. But
it makes you feel like you can justify your collection a bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of apps, then I just thought about it. The other one that we use is Aftergame.
Aftergame, yeah.
I'd have to give a shout out to. So I don't think we spoke about it on the pod. I did a social media posty thing not so long back saying, check this out, because our gaming group is just
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, just adopted it. And I was looking for a board game gaming group managing app for ages. And I know a lot of people use Meetup, and we used to use Facebook events. And so we'd been trialing it for, I don't know, a month or 2.
Yeah.
And and we've now got people who just refuse to use Facebook, who are actually starting to see games that go up in the group, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And we've now merged with Dan's group as well.
Yeah.
And we've had some games where some of his group have come to ours and things like that. So it's been really nice. I think if you want a board gaming app, it's free, doesn't cost anything. Aftergame, check it out and see if it works for you. But
would recommend.
Yeah,
nice, easy user interface.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It looks good.
It does. Well, people were talking about it today on the socials, weren't they? So I sort of put my bit in and said it seems to be working for us.
You plan a game. You can plan a gaming day or an event, which then you can put games in, and it just seems to do kind of what you expect it to do.
Well, we've started planning our podcast episodes through it as well, because
Yeah.
it's all in one. It's all in one place. Isn't
Unless
it?
you're me, and then you can't figure out how to put the event on, so you just schedule a game of Finspan.
So this is Finspan
This is
tonight, isn't it?
Finspan
Yeah.
tonight, and the next.
It was
couple of
confusing.
times.
We got 3 games of
I just
Finspan coming
couldn't.
up.
It wouldn't let me. I was doing it on my phone. I tried to. I just I just can't be asked to tit about anymore. We just put in. I just wanted
Whatever.
I wanted a way to be able to basically remind myself it was tonight, rather than just putting it in my calendar, and to be able to say these people on this episode, these people on that episode.
Yeah,
but what I like about Aftergame is the fact that you can be quite specific with the kind of, I don't want to say the level of player, like we categorize people, but you can say everybody needs to be able to have played this before.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a teaching game, or this is a teaching game, or you can say I've played this enough and I can teach it. So I like the fact that you can be quite specific with that sort of thing, and there isn't that whole stupid thing that Facebook did where, oh wait, it's suddenly oversubscribed. Who was the last person in? Who's like last in, first out, sort of a thing.
Yeah, it manages seats properly.
Yeah.
So if you're in an event, you take a seat. And if there's no more seats left, you can't get in, and it's like that's exactly what you need. And and also if you're coming to kind of get in on a game, you can say to people, "I want to play it, but I've never played it before. I don't know this game,
that's
or
it.
I can't really remember, or I've got."
So you need at least one person
it.
who's and I really like the fact that you can be specific in your level of understanding of the game. I think that's really, really helpful.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Right, so on to our main segment. Time for our main segment, which is all about board game conventions. So love them or hate them. There's a variety of different types there. I think probably enough that everybody would find something they wanted if they were prepared to seek them out and have a little look. So basically, what do we think of board game conventions? I mean, this is kind of a bit prescient because we're recording this, and hopefully by the time it comes out, it'll be on the 2 days eve of, in my opinion, the best UK games convention.
Yeah,
it
will be starting in 2 days from the release of this episode, depending on when you're listening to it, of course. But yeah,
so if you haven't got your tickets, abandon all your plans, get down there,
or
up there, depending on which direction you're traveling.
Across there.
Yeah. So the one we're mentioning now is, of course, the UK Games Expo, which is held every year around the end of May to June at Birmingham NEC, and it is 3 massive halls, 2 halls of which are kind of selling board games, demoing them, showcasing them, and then 1 ginormous hall of playing goodness.
Open gaming with lots of yellow playmats.
Yeah, it's just a sea of yellow, isn't it?
If you're lucky. If not, then you're just on the normal tablecloth, and then that's like roughing it.
Sad times. You feel like the pauper, don't you? But I think probably they evoke a bit of dread for some people because it can be an assault to the senses. So I guess, maybe we should talk about the kind of board game conventions there are. So we've mentioned one, which is the UKGE, which is the reason I think I like it so much is because for me it hits that perfect sweet spot. You can see the new hotness, you can see some of the old classics, but more importantly, you can move away from that and you can sit down with your mates and play the games, which is, in my opinion, what I want to do. I want to see all the new stuff, but what I actually want to do is buy the new stuff and then I want to play it. Get it. Yeah, if I'm not going to play it, I want to open the boxes and explore all the little bits. That's what I actually want to do. And in the UKG, you can do that.
Yep.
And there is plenty of room, even though it is very, very well attended. Was it about 50-odd thousand?
You know what? I can never remember the numbers.
It is, there's a lot of people there.
It's a fair whack.
Yeah. There's food.
Yeah.
There's drink. There's a bring and buy sale. There's a board game library. So it's got a bit of everything that I like. Yeah. And it's an excuse to kind of go away with your mates for the weekend, which is also really up my street.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. Up my
street,
alley? What?
Which
no.
is the NEC.
Yeah. So that's why I like that games convention. But I think it picks the best bits about lots of other conventions. So I guess you two have been to all of the, you've both been to all of the other ones we've been to, haven't you? So
yeah, between us all, we probably had a good spread of the various different types. But yeah, if you're talking about the types and categories, Games Expo is kind of mainly a commercial kind of place to buy and look around and get involved in the hobby. But you're right, it does have that unique thing of open gaming, which is always appreciated.
And tournaments.
And tournaments, a lot of tournament play. So organised play, for sure.
I spoke to a friend who years ago went to the UK Games Expo when it was more tournaments and less.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When it was almost 90% or 80% tournaments and open gaming.
Wow.
And then sort of slowly over the years, it's definitely evolved into what it is today, which is Britain's biggest convention. And as you say, it's a lot of promotion, demo, sales space, but they've still got that tournament space, they've still got the open gaming space. So it is a bit of a mixed, as you say, it's kind of that melting pot of all different types. I think it finds that middle ground.
Then you've got lean into the spectrum of full kind of industry commercial side of it. You've got your Essen spiel, which is pretty much the release window for most games, not all of them, but for most games in the calendar.
So at least a third to a half sort of thing of all games for the year.
A good chunk will come out at Essen in October of every year. And that's basically all geared around the new hotness and what is coming, the hype, the next best thing and that kind of stuff. So, but there is no open gaming. So there's zero, as a convention, it is just that.
There's not even really seating space.
Nope.
They actively take it away. Yeah. That's how I felt when I went, which was a fantastic experience. And I'm so glad I went. Yeah. But it actively seemed like they did not wish you to play.
They want you to shamble around the halls and buy check things out. And
which I don't have a problem with. No. I'm all for the buying of crap.
So you kind of got that commercial aspect. And, I don't know around Gen Con and Origins whether they are similar to a Games Expo or whether they're kind of on that Essen side where it's just purely demos and releases and things like that.
We've not been, but Gen Con is definitely feels like it's towards the Essen, and Origin, from talking to people, feels like it's a bit more towards the Expo. Okay. But I don't know.
We've not been.
Yeah, we've not been, so I can't speak from experience, just when I've spoken to people, because at one point, my plan was to do a different expo every year. Between money and current situations, that plan's on hold.
It's tough, isn't it?
But it's certainly there. I still want to go and do some of the Japanese conventions and stuff like that at some point because
nice.
they seem really cool as well. But anyway, as you're saying, you kind of got that end of things, which is fully
industry.
Yeah. Your other end of the scale is probably more like GridCon and stuff like that, which is 99% open play space. You might have a stall or like a local supplier selling what they've got from their store. You might have a couple of promo or demo spots, tables that all sort of play things, but otherwise they're almost entirely there for you just to play games for the whole weekend. And we probably go to them more when we talk about and again, you get different scales. So when we talk about the Fox and Hounds that we support with, that is 40 people, 50
small.
people. It's not
intimate.
It's
70.
Oh, is it 70?
About 70-ish, I think, is the max.
It's not very big at all, but I think that's part of some of its charm. And when you hear about some of the other ones that are around, and there are quite a few others like that, they sort of have that charm of being a local sort of thing that can't expand more than it is normally without moving somewhere. And then it goes all the way up to probably GridCon is probably one of the bigger ones. Some of the aircons maybe, but the aircons have a little bit more.
It's a bit more like a small expo.
Has a bit more expo-y space, but still seems to be predominantly gaming space.
I think it's nice to have that mix, but I guess it's horses for courses, isn't it? If you're interested in looking at new stuff, then great, go to those really big, busy, massive environments. If you're would rather kind of hang out with your friends in a bigger version, or maybe kind of catch up with people that you see on the kind of, I don't want to say the expo circuit, like we go to millions, but you do see the same faces in lots of places, and that's actually really nice. Even if you don't know these people, you know that you've seen them, and I think you wouldn't get that necessarily at UKGE because there is thousands of people.
You say that, but I use the UKGE to see people I haven't seen in years.
Oh, okay. I guess if you're going to make the effort to go, that is one that you might all be deciding you're going to go to together.
Like a hub.
It's not that. I just bump into everyone I used to know at the UKGE because and we'll talk about this in a little bit, I spend a lot of that time just wandering around, probably more than anyone else of our group does. I'm just constantly on the move. And because where I've sort of gained from previously, they're nearer London and stuff like that, I know that they're there every year. I just keep an eye out for them and I'll bump into them loads. There's people from Exeter that I don't get to see very often. She's just down the road, really. It's only an hour away. I have no excuse as to why I don't see them as often as I probably should. But I often see them more at the expo than I do at going to Exeter sort of thing. So
it is an event, isn't it, that you kind of block time out in your calendar, because I'm sure we're not the only group that kind of realise that actually there's just not enough nights in the week to play all the games we want to play and fit in every other bits of family kind of stuff you have to do. So you actually put time to do this. This is a calendar event, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's similar maybe in a way of some things like maybe full board gaming, where it's almost kind of bordering on a bit of a holiday. I wouldn't describe the UKG as a holiday because it's tiring and it's full on, but it is a getaway. Whereas I think something like full board gaming, which happens in Torquay, is it happening again next year? I think so that's a really great. That can be as absolutely chilled as you want it to be, and that is more like we're going away for the weekend and there's board games rather than this is a big full on. Something you have to kind of almost mentally prepare for. And I'm a pretty kind of extrovert kind of a person, but you still have to prepare for the UKG. You kind of have to put your mental armor on to thrust yourself into this humongous throng of people.
Yeah.
And there are more sort of holiday. I say Fox and Hounds is kind of a bit of a holiday as well and stuff like that. I've talked about it before. There's a dream of mine is to go on the Dice Tower cruise.
It does sound awesome.
Where you spend, I think it's 8 days, I think it is, on a cruise. And
Caribbean,
basically,
isn't it?
half of them are doing the island visits, half the days, and half the days are at sea where they've got the lectures on and they've got open gaming space and all that kind of stuff. And it is half holiday, half board game, which is kind of how full board can feel if you want it to be that way as well, sort of thing.
Depends on your budget.
I think it does depend on your budget.
Do you want a Caribbean cruise or do you want to go to Torquay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where you're at. But yeah, the Dice Tower cruise, I think it would be awesome to do one.
I really want to do it.
It would be great.
Really want to do it.
You bring a really interesting point in there, Adrian, about the kind of the talks and the other things, because that is something that happens at some of these conventions. I think the UKG is one of them. Obviously, we've got our live episode there, but they have talks and kind of discussion topics, and I don't want to quite say lectures.
Like seminars.
Seminars is a great one. So varying different people that are involved in board gaming in some context might talk about a certain topic or not necessarily a contentious area, but they'll talk about a certain aspect of gaming. I remember one I really wanted to go to last time was a Terry Pratchett kind of talk, and that wasn't really actually about board gaming. It was kind of board gaming adjacent, I suppose. And I think there was a woman that gave a talk a couple of years ago about kind of gender and board gaming, which is something I think is quite interesting because it's kind of coming more to the front with people being more mindful of, or specifically choosing certain games because of, I don't know, where they were made or the socioeconomic group of people that make them or gender, whatever. I think that's is in people's minds now in a way that maybe it hasn't been before. So I think it's interesting to know how that can affect some people's choices. So they do talks about that kind of thing at the UKGE. Like I say, I haven't been to many of the other big conventions, so I don't know if they do that kind of lecture-y type thing.
Yeah, they do. There's quite a few of them now that do it. Live podcasting. Just drop that in there now as well. But that's very popular as a kind of a seminar lecture style as well. One big thing, and I suppose it kind of moves on to another type of convention. So there's a couple more that I think are kind of left to discuss, but the one you've kind of led me on to is the tournament convention.
Yeah. Your wargaming one.
Yeah, and it does skew that way, but tournament board gaming is more of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Curly entered the Ark Nova one last year, but Terraforming Mars has had a community. Pandemic's had a community.
Blood Bowl has a community, doesn't it?
What's that?
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl. Oh, yeah. Again, that's more wargaming side of things. But even like Blood Rage, I know, has had a tournament in the past. But tournament conventions is a whole different beast. You want to talk about putting your armor on.
Yeah.
It is knackering. You will play 4 or 5, if you've signed up to the tournament, you will play 4 or 5 games a day, and you will potentially do 2 or 3 days of gaming.
Yep.
Where you get up by 9 o'clock, you are stood opposite an opponent, and you won't stop until 6, 7, 8 o'clock each day. That is a big commitment and a big ask, and you will either thrive on that kind of thing or you won't. And I found different systems do different things. So Malifaux, I was a big Malifaux player.
What's Malifaux?
It's just a war game.
Oh, okay.
It's based in this bizarro world where basically every genre exists at once. It's a horror, Western, Japanese, like steampunk, Victorian sort of world all crammed into one. And I really loved that as a tournament thing. But 40k as tournament, I've done a couple, talked about them recently. It doesn't make me is excited to do a whole like weekend of that. But anyway, a lot of what's happening now in the industry is companies are releasing their new products or showing off their latest miniatures at these events. So they wait until an Adepticon or a Gen Con or a Salute, which is our local one. Salute's a little bit less prestigious, and they don't really do these kind of release sort of they'll show releases off in cabinets and talk to you about them, but they don't do like a presentation like you get in a Gen Con or Adepticon or an Origins even to some extent, or a PAX. And they will show you what's coming up for the future. So they'll show you like grayscale versions of the miniature designs, and they'll talk about some rules and have seminars that way. So that's become a real big part of that community as well. And quite often they'll live stream that out to everyone as well. So they'll, especially like Games Workshop and Simon, who are obviously a little bit of a delicate position at the moment, but they've been particularly good at showing off what's coming up, and FFG through Atomic Mass Games and stuff like that. So that's another type that I think I'll probably be one of the very few. Maybe Davey as well probably has a bit of experience of doing the tournament. I did conventions.
I have not done a tournament convention, but I have done tournaments at conventions.
So okay.
I did Keyforge.
Oh, and you did Crokinole as well, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh gosh, I forgot the Crokinole.
I think I was the best in the
group. I think you were the best in the group, JP. Yes.
Hey. I don't know how that happened. But no, the Keyforge one, when you're talking about putting your mental armor on, Yeah, Christ, that was a day.
You are knackered at the end of each day, and then
Because you've got to
normally
be on your A game, haven't you? That's the whole point. You're pitting your
I just realised
skills.
that I probably didn't care enough.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
About an hour and a half in, I was like, yeah, I've had fun now, and I'd like to just do something else.
Yeah.
Whereas I saw grown men crying and lots of different things and people shouting at each other, and thought, yeah, it's just not for me. It's just too serious. It's just that now.
And you'd have just done just a few hours. You imagine doing 2 days, where at the end of the first day, quite often, the lines are drawn in the sand. You are top half, bottom half. You are, because you're playing 7 or 8 games sometimes at these two-day events. So you know where you are. If you are even in the top half, quite often at that point, you're really going for it. And if you haven't slept, or you're not feeling great, or you've had too much to drink, as I've seen the night before, and you don't turn up to that second day, it does make feel like the first day was a waste of time, because you've just fallen over at the second day. And it's happened to me. I've watched it happen to other people as well. It is tough. But if you like it, you will thrive in it. You'll love it. You'll make it part of your calendar. Mm-hmm. I think the other type of convention we've not really mentioned, unless anyone's got other thoughts after this, but the one I'm thinking of is your Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So because board games have become such a part of communities and the way people are, especially RPGs, they have become a part of the Comic-Con experience as well. You can go and find your collectibles, you can get your board games, all that kind of stuff. And it's a bit more of a general. Now, I've not been to a proper Comic-Con before, like properly, but I have done some local ones. And they feel, from what people have told me, very similar, where you've kind of just got this mix of people turning up just to celebrate whatever their fandom is. Mm-hmm. But quite often there'll be people selling their board games and all that lot. And there'll be groups of people talking about what they enjoy doing, whether that's wargaming or board gaming, or just or if they're cosplaying, they will just be excited about whatever it is. And if you're not cosplaying and you see someone cosplaying as a character you like or whatever, just go and talk to them, because they're always happy to.
They're super invested, aren't they?
Yeah, Salute people turned up from the 501st doing their stormtroopery thing, and at the time Legion I think had just come out when I went and saw them, which is a Star Wars game. And everyone was just happy to talk Star Wars in that area where the 501st was, and the Legion and all that lot.
It's somewhere that people that are often really into a thing, like a fandom or a franchise, they're often really, really, really into the thing. And that is, I'm not saying mocked necessarily by it, but not really perhaps understood by a lot of people. Yeah. So when you're then surrounded by people who, get it in the same way that you get it, that must be such a lovely feeling.
From my experience, and again, I'll sort of reiterate that it's limited, is that fandom online can be quite toxic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fandom in person, generally pretty good and getting better by the year sort of thing. So I do remember it being quite toxic in person when I went to some of the local ones at one point. And then now it's just everyone's just happy to be happy about their thing.
There's less, I feel like there's less keeperiness. Like, you're not a real fan because you don't know this real obscure thing.
Or you like this specific episode
you only got into it 5 minutes ago. I've been into it for 15 years. Like, all right, have a day off. Yeah. Everyone's allowed to have a nice time. And I think that's...
And I do know some cosplayers who have come up against the whole, you're a woman or you're this age or whatever, you can't possibly understand the fandomness of it. But again, every time I speak to them, they say it gets less and less.
Yeah.
Good.
So which is great.
There's always going to be an arsehole, isn't there? Like you can't factor that out. There's always going to be an arsehole.
That's the constant truth. The arseholes are everywhere.
In lovely Comic-Cons, or just going down your local pub or at work.
Yeah.
So you can't get rid of them, can you?
Yeah.
But it's nice that it's tangibly less. Mm-hmm. That's really nice.
But as you say, with all those different types of conventions, as I say, I might have missed different types, but I think that gives us a good cover.
Broad selection.
You will find a group or a type that you sort of like and want to go to and all that kind of stuff. And people are generally pretty welcoming at these things.
Yeah. I think one of the good things at, say, GridCon and the UKG is there is board game libraries.
Yeah.
So you can usually find some group of people to play with, even if you might be really kind of overwhelmed with, gosh, so many people, could I possibly go on my own? This is going to be weird. And there's a lot of people that go on their own, and quite a lot of these smaller conventions. I know that the Fox and Hounds is one of them. Partially that's because we help with it, so I know this is existing. there's often like a Discord channel or some form of message group or board or chat beforehand that people that are going on their own can kind of maybe schedule in a couple of games so they at least know that they're going to be kind of involved with other people at a certain point. And maybe then you can think, oh, actually, well, we really enjoyed playing that game, Mr. Random Person I didn't know. Oh, would you fancy playing whatever? And I think that's really nice that kind of inclusivity happens. And people are generally just really happy to get people involved in games. I don't think maybe because it hasn't happened to me, but I've never seen anyone sort of obviously standing around not doing something or being cast away. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems people are generally really happy to involve people.
That's kind of the more local kind of open gaming kind of conventions are definitely designed to be that social space, you know. It's a bit like where I went the other weekend to this gaming retreat. I didn't really know anyone, not really. And even David, I know, but I don't know him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we spoke and we've had a good laugh about things and, you know, tested some of his games and things. But yeah, so it's always a bit nerve wracking.
Yeah.
And I'm an extrovert, right? I'm like normally quite comfortable with this. And I know, Adrian, you spoke years about...
right, it was one of the very first few episodes we did, and I talked about my hesitation of going to these things.
Your anxiety about going to some of these things. And I completely get it, completely understand that. It's so much easier to not do it.
Yeah.
And I remember with Expo, I think it was before my first ever visit, I was planning to go up on my own, and I bottled it. And I didn't do it. For whatever reason, because I think it was just too easy not to do it, rather than going, just do it, you'll have a great time. And it's just, it is difficult, but yeah, when people put those mechanisms in place and organisers like Paul at GridCon, who's so mindful of it, who's so mindful that he'll find people. So what are you playing? If he finds anyone that's kind of in that state, he will find you someone and he'll be getting you playing something with someone within 10 minutes.
Scale that up to the bigger conventions. If you're going to like a demo table, the chances are you're going to be playing against 3 other people or playing with 3 other people that you don't know at all.
100%.
So it's almost like an organised group of people that don't know each other. And then you might really hit it off with one person and you end up, you bump into them around there. Oh, do you fancy playing this? Oh, yeah, let's play that. And so those kind of, I can't say friendships, but kind of mutual, friendly acquaintances can kind of happen. And that's really nice. Yeah,
and we had that where I think so a couple of us were playing Escape the Dark Castle, and this was years ago. But I always remember it. But this father and son said, "Oh, would you mind if we kind of demoed with you?" So no, come across, no problem. We had such a laugh.
Yep.
And we just kind of just had such fun with it. We didn't take anything seriously. We were there just to play the demo, whatever. And his son was just like massively into it, and it was just really good to kind of experience it. But I would say actually, you're at more of an advantage actually at these bigger conventions if you're on your own to demo.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
That one seat, that slip right in.
You're getting straight in there.
You're more likely to get slip into those seats. Where if you're going as a 3 or a 4, trying to get you all to demo at the
you have to book a spot.
You have to book it
at that point.
You'll never do it.
Whereas 1s and 2s, we did it at Essen, didn't we, Becky?
Yeah.
We sort of walked around because they were playing Elder Scrolls for 5 hours, and we were just like, let's go around it. And loads of people were like, oh, do you want to play this? It's a 4-player, and there's 2 of us sat here, and we just joined in with
really well, didn't it?
And I think going back to the whole GridCon sort of piece is, I think one thing that works well is because it's quite awkward if you just kind of walk over and go, can I join this? Because everyone has the right to say no. And I wouldn't be offended if anyone said no to me joining a game because we want to play with players like their friends, whatever. But I've never seen one of these events where there isn't a players wanted sign you can put up next to the table, and it indicates immediately to just come and sit down and play.
The kind of
it's like that dating thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're going to a bar, not that I've done this, but because I've been married and stuff. And married and things. Yeah. But it's like that, I'm single.
Do you wear like a special hat? Or do you have
colour,
like a... Okay, sure.
But it's like, I'm single, or I'm this, I'm that, whatever.
Back in my day, they were called traffic light parties.
Traffic light parties, there you go.
I just missed out on so much of life. I've never been chatted up at a bar or gone to any kind of singles event ever.
So traffic light parties were, if you wear green, you're up for whatever.
I'm ready to go.
If you're wearing red, then off limits.
Don't even approach me.
And if you're amber, then there's kind of let's have a chat and get to know each other. There could be something.
Maybe. So you don't all the women just then wear amber to be kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to look too kind of.
You normally get more guys in green.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
A lot of women in red, guys in green, and then a few in amber.
And then it's normally quite a good mix in the amber category. Yeah.
So yeah. But
well,
it's
what a world. I feel like I've missed out there.
But it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Which is basically, it removes the awkwardness of you having to approach the table and going, is there hello, you don't know me, but is there a space that I can come and play with? Can I come and play with you guys? Whereas this is quite clearly saying, I need a player for this game and feel free to sit down, Mr. or Mrs. Person, and let's play.
You've invited that. You've kind of got rid of the awkwardness.
I'm inviting the invitation.
Yeah.
And the more conventions that do that system, the better.
We've not seen one. I've certainly not seen one that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's sort of a shared agreement almost that places now have that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there was even some at the expo, wasn't there?
There probably was, thinking about it.
I don't know whether that was bought by
maybe
people locally or not, but I've definitely seen players wanted signs up.
Yeah. And that's a good point, isn't it? If you're going as a 2 or maybe even a 3, but actually you'd be really open to somebody coming in and joining your game, take your own little sign.
Make your sign. Camp out, get your space with a yellow play mat, put your sign up, you'll find someone. There's thousands of people in that hall.
So saying that kind of brings me on to the kind of next thing I wanted to talk about, which is kind of tips for first-time attendees, or maybe not first-time attendees, but perhaps if you've only ever been to one type of convention and you're looking to kind of do some more other ones. I think the first thing I would say as a tip is look for those signs. If you're going on your own and this is a new kind of whole new world for you.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Oh, there's a carpet flying up through the window. Look at that.
Sorry, I could help myself.
Look for those signs and make use of them maybe yourself if you want to. Mm-hmm. And don't feel awkward to ask. Equally, don't feel offended if someone says no. Although, like you say, Adrian, I've never seen that happen.
I'm sure it happens.
It must do. It must do.
I've seen it happen, but it was taken with good grace because someone just came over and went, look, I don't suppose, I see there's 3 of you, it's a 4-player game, I don't suppose you'd let me sit on it. And they're like, look, we just wanted to rock with this, we do it every year sort of thing. And they went, no, I totally get it, you didn't have a sign up, I'm going now sort of thing. And it was done in really good grace.
And that's really nice, isn't it? And that is really nice. And I guess the only caveat I would say is maybe just try and have just a modicum of social awareness.
Yeah.
I think as a hobby, we're probably quite well known that maybe some of us don't have so much of that. But if someone's kind of giving you the kind of showing you their shoulder and not kind of just to have an awareness of it.
If you don't have good social skills, and I don't confess to have great social skills, just stick to the rules. Look for those signs that say players, and then just come over, introduce yourself, ask if you can join in.
That's it.
And then if there's no signs, then don't worry about your social awkwardness and just go, I'm not going to bother trying to join that game because it hasn't got a sign up at it. I'll follow the kind of rules specifically.
We're a good group for following the rules, aren't we? If the signs, make use of the signs, I'd say. Yeah. Definitely. What else would you say for your top tips?
I think it depends on the convention type. If you're going for the more kind of commercially industry type ones, the bigger ones, then it's like what your parents would say. Just make sure you wear comfy shoes.
100%.
And make sure you wear your underpants that don't chafe you. Anything like you're going to be doing a lot of walking. You're going to be on your feet a lot. And
be prepared for it to be warm.
Yes.
Layers, people.
Clammy.
It's going to be clammy. Lots of clammy pennies in your pocket.
Take some wet wipes or some alcohol, cleany stuff.
Wear shorts even in the winter. If you're going to an October, November event, if you are going to an Essen, you can wear shorts. It's just getting back to your hotel that'll be a bit chilly, but
true.
It's just preparing yourself, and it's easy to forget because you get excited about the weekend or whatever, and then you get there and you go, shit, why did I pack these shoes? My feet are going to be killing me by the end of the week.
Yeah.
But things like just take bottled water.
Check the rules. See what you can take in and what you can't.
Yeah.
A bottle of water is probably fine.
But food and not food.
Sometimes food or not food, sometimes certain types of drink, alcohol, all that kind of stuff will be in the rules. So one of my pieces of advice is going to be check the rules, check what bags you're allowed to take, all that kind of stuff. So we know that UKG now basically ban the board game bags.
Big bags,
Big giant rucksack,
Because
just a big cube.
As I've proved, you can wipe someone out quite easily.
Even when you're being really, really careful and cautious.
Even when I thought I was aware of it, the second you step outside that building, you still are wearing that. Because I was so mindful of it inside the halls, because I was taking it literally from there's a shop and drop at the UK Games Expo. You buy a box for the day. I had loads of games to sell. I'd agreed sales for. Sorted all that out. Put the thing on my back full of baked games I'd bought. Exited the hall. Was very careful about how I exited the hall, being mindful of the fact that I wasn't supposed to have one of these bags. The second I left that hall, I totally forgot I was wearing one and just wiped someone out. And so just be mindful of all of those. Check the rules. There are nearly always, the big ones especially, there are nearly always rules. Check the rules. And if you are allowed drinks, snacks, whatever, do load up on them. I take now like a little man bag that I take with me that just sort of slings over my shoulder, and that's always got a couple of drinks, a couple of chocolate bars, stick of gum, that kind of thing in there.
Just keep you going, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about the games and stuff, like you always kind of go, right, it's gaming weekend. It's my chance. I'm going to bring all the games that I want to play. Now, again, depending on convention, just remember, you might be lugging that shit around.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're at the expo, getting from your car to the convention, unless you wait for the shuttle bus, is a bit of a trek.
Even if you do it for the shuttle bus, it's still just a lot of lumping around, isn't it?
It's a lot of faff that you're lumping around. Then it depends where your hotel is. If you're staying there, you've got to get. So, just be smart. What I do is I typically, I'll take like my board game bag. I'll go to the hotel. I'll have my kind of library there, but then each day I'll probably put one game in my rucksack.
Yep.
And that's what I take in.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like if everyone brings one game in our group, we still probably won't play them all.
And buy three.
Yeah,
and buy three.
This is it. Exactly.
So it's like, just be mindful. Like you might want to take all your games, but be realistic about it. Are you going to actually play them all?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of weight that you're flinging around.
It doesn't feel heavy to start with, but then it really does.
And it differs. If you go into a more local convention where you're playing open gaming, do what you want, because you literally just walk in and dump the games.
Yeah, we fill up our car like a Tetris kind of game.
It is the library.
It is the library, yeah. Which works fine, but then you've got to be mindful, how much am I bringing in at once?
Yeah.
How much, if everyone, and my top tip for that bit would be buy those kind of reusable shopping bag type little Asda, whatever, insert it here. However, don't buy those ones because everybody's got those. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being anxious about it, but I want to know that my games are mine, and then I'm not going to accidentally nick someone else's, like I did by accident at GridCon once.
Did you?
I didn't nick it, but somebody gave me Forest Shuffle, thinking it was I had taken Forest Shuffle, and we'd played someone else's Forest Shuffle. And then packing away, someone was like, "Oh, there's your Forest Shuffle." I was like, "Oh, brilliant, thanks." I put it in my bag. Only like the next day, did like not a friend of a friend, but like an acquaintance of an acquaintance go, "Oh, it's Becky, isn't it? I hope you don't mind me saying, is there any chance that you could have accidentally taken my Forest Shuffle?" I was like, "Oh my, yeah, I absolutely could have." And I went in,
stolen it.
and I looked in the car, and I left it in the car, and I was just so apologetic. I said, "I'm so sorry," and he was absolutely fine about it, because that's the trouble. A game's a game, isn't it? The boxes are very similar. Yeah. Well, they're identical, in fact.
Yeah,
so if
your copy of this and my copy is the same.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I knew it was his, because I had added the expansion to it, and he had, or the opposite. And so that was how we knew, which is great. So I've taken to putting and this is probably something that people aren't going to want to do, but I've got a little stamp with my name on it, because I'm that kind of person. So on the lid of my box, it's got my name on it. Now, of course, that means if I'm going to sell it, that's difficult. As we all know, I don't sell my games, so it's not a problem. It's not a problem. But maybe if you are not that kind of committed to your games, put a bit of paper in it with your name on it, or your phone number, whatever. But I would say buy a shopping bag that is quite different. Top tip, TK Maxx. £1.50, giant, big, massive shopping bag, and there's about 10 different designs. So now I've told everyone to do this. Maybe everyone's going to have the same temp, but do you know what I mean? Get a different-ish one that isn't just your Lidl's red one.
I think what everyone wants to know is, with Expo this year, is the granny shopping trolley making a return or not?
Well, you can't actually fit that much in there, can you?
Oh, I don't know. Sad times if the granny
I mean,
shopping
I
trolley's
do
not
like
doing.
taking the granny shopping trolley for not games, for all the other accessories that I buy. So, I mean, I am 40 now. I probably can legitimately have a granny trolley, and that's not a thing, right? So, who knows? Maybe granny trolley will make its appearance.
The Whose Turn is it anyway? Granny trolley maybe make an appearance.
It's not paisley, it's stripy. It's
Yes.
quite a funky granny trolley as they go. But yeah,
Well, if you bring it, we should say to our listeners, if you do see us walking around about, get a photograph with
the
you and the granny trolley.
with the Whose Turn Granny Trolley, and put it on the socials.
There you go. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
snap it in like covertly that we're not noticing. If you don't want to come up and say hello, totally fine.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it and
Yeah. And post it and
post
tag
it up,
us.
tag us up on
do it on
Facebook.
We would love that.
Yeah,
That'd
that'd
be
be
so
cool.
amazing if you could do that.
Yeah. You're just gonna get a lot of pictures of like the backside of me pulling this bloody granny trolley now. Maybe I'm not quite so keen for that.
I like this. This is a great idea. Let's do this.
But make sure you've thought about what you're going to transport your games in. That's a really important one for me, anyway.
Yeah.
And don't get eyes bigger than your belly in the bring and buy sale. She says, like, that's never happened to her.
Speaking of the bring and buy sale, always bring some cash.
Yes, 100%.
So Essen, Expo, all of them are getting better, I think, for taking card. So if you're going abroad, make sure you've got a card with 0% fees on it for spending abroad. But then always make sure you've got some amount of cash on you. So the bring and buy is always cash only at the Expo, but both at Essen and Expo, I've been to stands that only accept the cash, which is fair.
Yeah.
Especially if the Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy in whatever Expo hall.
At part, I think, was it Essen or was it UKG?
Essen's the worst.
That their BP machine, what's it called? Like a hands-free. What am I trying to say?
The card reader.
The card reader.
That's it. Chip and pin kind of card reader. It just wasn't working.
I've been at Salute where a whole corner didn't seem to have any available Wi-Fi, so they were like waving the card readers in the air sort of thing. Yeah. And in the end, I just went like, I'll give you some cash instead. Like I hadn't wanted to because I'd wanted to save cash for elsewhere, but you were just like, well,
I've got no option.
So always,
and the cash points run out immediately, don't they, in these places? So do think
and
about
normally
that.
charge you.
Yes.
So get you some cash out beforehand.
Yeah.
Or if you're going abroad, get a decent amount of money because you can always, it might cost you a few pennies, but from experience and having to use the bank of Rob that year.
Oh, yeah.
Rob, could I borrow €20?
Rob was not buying anything, but had bought a fair amount of foreign currency.
He could have made quite a bit of money had
and
he
was
charged into
Loan shark.
We all ran out of money a bit earlier than expected.
Yeah.
We ended up borrowing it from him, and you might not have a bank of Rob to walk around with.
Yeah.
So
You might not. So prepare.
So I'm in real two minds about this. So previous years, I haven't sort of made my plan of attack. I haven't kind of made an itinerary, or I've had a couple of stalls that I really must go there. So for example, this year, not surprisingly, I've got to go and see the Chris Prescott Fetching Feathers.
Fetching Feathers. Yeah.
Got to go and see that because it aired at Aircon. It made its debut at Aircon, but it's at the UKG, so I've got to go and see that. Now,
You just want to get a copy, don't you?
One
of the first 25, is it? A day?
He's got 75.
Yeah.
So I know I'm really interested to see what he's brought out with this. I sort of want to make a plan of attack for other places, but I don't know. I like wandering around, so I'm.
Just depends. Like it depends on what you're there for.
Yeah.
Like we've got. I say we, not all of us, but some of us have got like press duties.
Yeah.
So for those who've got press duties, are probably more likely to try and plan and see up front about which publishers we want to go and see and for what reason and what's being released. And at Essen, more so. I think Essen, you kind of need to do that because if you don't do that, it's too big, it's too much going on, you'll miss stuff, right? You just will. But I'm with you on Expo. I'm quite more laissez-faire with Expo. I think I can... It's big, but it's still small enough you can get round it and have a look. And with 3 days, you can pretty much see things. And then you go on Sunday and go, is this new? Because there's less people.
I'm
and
sure
you can
I've walked
see
past this 3 times at least, but I don't remember that.
But like, it depends on your personality. Depends on what you're there for. And, this year, I've probably done the most planning for Expo than I ever have.
Okay.
And I've got a list. I've got games that I want to check out and publishers I want to see, just personally.
Yep.
Just not even from a press point of view, just personally going,
Yeah.
I want to check that out. So, yeah, if you want to make the most out of anything like that, then plan it.
The apps are usually really good.
And this is what I was going to say is certainly Essen and Expo and definitely Gen Con, because I remember looking them up. They'll have a list of new games to buy, new games to demo, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they'll also have exhibitor lists, and normally just beforehand a map, if sort of thing. So I love a wander around all of them. It's the first thing I do. It's the advice I personally give everyone is go and see the ones where you think they're going to run out of the stuff you want first, make a beeline for them, and then just wander around and see what's there and try and book in demos and mind map it out a bit and be like, well, I'll come back here a bit later and all that kind of stuff and have a bit of wander around. But I'm probably the most planned of the group.
You are.
And always do not feel like I've planned well enough at the end of it. And that's really all I do is I'll watch a few YouTube videos, see what people are excited for, and then I'll look up the new to buy, new to demo list, and I'll look up the exhibitor list, and I'll kind of map out where I want to go, what I want to see. And again, I'll just asterisk if it's like, I must get this game, I'll asterisk it, make sure I get there as quick as possible. And if it runs out, always ask if there's going to be more. Because sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't.
Yeah, sometimes I have a daily stock.
So just
for fairness,
ask the question, because if they're all run out on the Friday and you've got 2 more days to go, knowing whether it's worth going back or not is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. I think last but not least, unless anyone's got anything else to add, just be open to like seeing games or looking at games that you might not normally be interested in. I think there is a lot of that kind of, come and look at my RPG stuff. No, I know I'm just not interested.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to waste their time.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm like. I'll start feeling sorry for them and I'll potentially convince myself that maybe I will like this one day but I might buy something. And I don't want to do that because I'm not going to enjoy it. So maybe avoid the ones that you know you're absolutely not going to be, it's just not your bag. Mm-hmm. But if someone offers you a demo, think, well, actually, why not? Why not? I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
You can always walk away. It's not no one's making you stay there. No. You can leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
Most of the stands are people who are proud of something they have done or proud of the company they work for. There are some, but they're generally in the minority. There are some paid people who are paid just to stand there and sell you stuff.
Yep.
95% of the people there are people who've designed products or work closely with them, or just, demoers who are happy to be demoing a game they like. They will passionately talk to you about anything and everything. So just get involved. Like if you don't...
Yeah, stuck in.
Yep.
And enjoy it.
That's the main thing, right? Isn't it? Is just have fun. You're there to have fun. You wouldn't be going to these events to not have fun, right? Like that's the reason why you've gone to them.
Yeah. If you're not having fun, don't go.
Just as you say, if you're not having fun for whatever reason,
just come away from it.
Just come away from it, reset, recheck, figure it out what it is.
Yeah.
Don't go back next year.
Yeah. And it might be that's not the convention for you. Try a different one, different style, different vibe. You'll find one, I think. If you're in the hobby, you'll find one type that you will like more. And then even within our group, we can all probably say our favourite one will be different.
For different reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fine, which is what it's about.
So I guess our takeaway is, like you just said, there's one for everyone. Yeah. Try a few until you find one you like.
Yeah.
Or go to them all like we try to.
Oh, yeah. Or do every one of them and tire yourself out and have no money. Yeah.
And that about wraps that one up, I reckon.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. Now it's time for sleeve, receive, or leave. So this is very badly kind of cobbled together, I have to say, but they're the favourite games of mine to play at a convention. So would you rather sleeve, receive, or leave Lords of Waterdeep, Lost Ruins of Arnak, or Septima? And these are all games that I talk about liking to play at conventions.
Okay.
I think it's because I find them comforting, because they're not necessarily difficult. Yeah. There's a lot of repetitive kind of things going on. And I like that in a convention because you can't listen too much to instruction because it's too noisy.
Yeah.
So Lords of Waterdeep, Lost Ruins, with the Scoundrels and Scallywags, whatever it's called, expansion. That's it.
Scoundrels and Scallywags.
I thought she was talking about Arnak expansion. I was like, is that what it's called?
No.
Scoundrels and Scallywags.
Scoundrels of Skullport, yes, absolutely. So Lords of Waterdeep with the expansions. Yeah. Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yeah.
Or Septima.
All right, easy for
Go
me.
On then.
Right, leave. Waterdeep. Bugger off, piss off, don't care. Right. Sorry. You know my feelings. I think I ranted about it about 10 episodes, maybe 15 episodes ago. Done. So that one's out. I think I would sleeve Arnak because it's a game I haven't actually played that much. I think I probably played it about 2 or 3 times max ever. And I don't know why I haven't played it as much as I probably should have. I don't know. Just either opportunity.
Because you're wasting your time playing Dune. You could be playing the better version, but enough said.
Well,
I think you're in the wrong crowd for that. Yeah.
Don't at me because I don't care.
Yeah, don't know. But the thing is with Arnak, I haven't played a lot of the newer expansion stuff. I've not played more than half of the characters. So there's a lot in there that I think I haven't tapped into. And I think actually it's just had this new Adventurers box release. It looks sexy.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I love a big box. I love a big box. So I'd say leave that on, and I'd receive Septimer. Even though I actually have sold it, I'd happily receive it again. And then maybe I'll sell it again. I don't know. But
you play it a couple more times with the omens and shapeshifters, and then
always with omens and shapeshifters.
Okay. I still haven't played with shapeshifters.
You should do it.
I know.
I mean, you might not enjoy it, Becky.
It's still cute little animals.
Yeah, the animals are cool, but the thinking puzzle ratchets up.
Oh, maybe not then.
Yeah, and it's because the where normally you get to the end of the round, you get your cards back. Yeah. Right. Well, this you don't. So you have to kind of play the right card to get the cards back with the shape shifting, and just adds another dimension, which is fun.
I just use those the pieces as a little aid memoir as to what colour I am.
Yeah.
I just put them on the front of my board. It's just nice. So no, quite pretty.
But no. So that's me. That's what I would do. So I'm going to try and give Arnak a bit more of a fair shake, I think.
Okay. Adrian, how about you?
I'm leaving Lords of Waterdeep because it's...
even with the nice meeples.
It's bad.
It's just... Yeah. I've ranted about this before, but it has the whole mandatory quest
Not when
thing,
I frigging well play it, it does not. They can get in the bin.
But it's a requirement to get that game closer because it's got no catch-up mechanism apart from mandatory quests.
Yeah.
So it's a feel-bad catch-up mechanism.
So it slows the people down.
Yeah.
I would love to see a second edition of that where they rethink how mandatory quests work and they revisit it. But knowing Wizards, that's never going to happen.
No, probably not. I've taken some of the mandatory quests out. Not all of them, but some of them. So there's a lot less.
Unfortunately, I'm leaving that. And say I played plenty of games of it and it had its time for me where I enjoyed it. And now it's unfortunately not really playable.
I remember playing that with you at one of the first conventions when we went to the 24-hour board game marathon, and you absolutely ram-raided my play. You just mandatory quested me like a mofo.
Yeah, it's because you were ahead, and that's what you're supposed to. That's what you have to do in that game.
Offended. I haven't let it go.
Interestingly, the best version of that is the app because the AI players are not as heavy-handed with the mandatory quests.
Yeah.
And therefore it doesn't feel so bad when you're ahead and then 3 mandatory quests get slammed on top of you, one on top of the other. It just needs rebalancing, that part of it. Anyway, so that's a leave. Lost Ruins of Arnak I've only played it once, and it was at the expo when I wasn't particularly up for playing much, but it didn't deliver what I was hoping it would. So that is the receive. I wanted to go through the deck a few more times. The rest of the bits were fine, but you don't go through the deck enough to make it what I was hoping it would be. Mm-hmm. And having never played Septimer and it not being high up my Mind Clash want list, I guess I'll put Septimer in sleeve. It doesn't.
You hold the cards a lot, so it is helpful having those cards sleeved. I'm not going to lie.
It doesn't particularly tickle me, but I think it's, for me, unfortunately, the best of a bad bunch. Sorry for that.
No offence taken, Adrian. Just 3 of my favourite games. That's fine.
I thought you meant Mind Clash then.
No.
I was going to go off my soapbox.
Yeah,
I realised what you meant.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 3 crap choices.
Mind Clash has 3 games that I really like. So it's not. That's not.
It's just not one of the. It's not.
It's
the
just
top for you.
Even when JP previewed it and was talking about it preview, I thought that sounds interesting. not interesting
Not
enough
interesting enough for you, no?
for me to want to go out and
It's
buy it
horses
or whatever.
for
So
courses.
I'll happily give it a go. But yeah.
It's just quite a big box to take to a big convention, I will say.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be taking it to
is.
the UKGE, but I take it to every other convention.
Now, what would you choose? Because I think for
I
you,
did-
this is a harder decision.
I
It
did
really
this where I just
is.
picked 3
Yeah.
games I love and then went,
Yeah.
oh, this is a problem.
I mean, as much as I love Lords of Waterdeep, you do make some good points. The mandatory quests are a absolute turd.
Oh, turd.
And
And Adrian's right. If you take them out, the game doesn't work.
yeah,
Really.
you're right. But it's just such a comfortable game.
Yeah.
But I think out of those 3, I am going to have to leave that one, which makes me sad. It does
You're
make me
putting
sad.
Lords of Waterdeep out onto the porch, shotgun in mouth, and you're cocking it and you're shooting it dead. Because it's got rabies.
It'll be nice as glue for another board game.
Hey. But I think out of those 3, that is what I would have
Yeah.
to choose. That is what I would have to
All right.
choose.
What about the other 2? Where you going?
Well, they both just fill different little niches in my.
You picked them, Becky.
I know this is why it's hard because I did just pick 3 games I like. I want to sleeve Septima because I have sleeved it with the premium sleeves because you have to sleeve it. But I think for replayability, I think I prefer Lost Ruins of Arnak for sleeving. So I think I'm gonna copy you, JP. I'm leaving Lords of Waterdeep, even though it makes me sad, really sad.
Sleeving Arnak.
Sleeving Arnak and receiving
Septima.
Septima.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So we can all agree that Lords of Waterdeep needs to go in the bin.
No,
Yeah.
I would never hear me
unanimous.
say that.
That's what I took out of that.
No.
It's had its time. Let's move on.
Like
to the
terraforming Mars, it's had its time.
Oh, don't, now, come on, Adrian, please. Here, come on. And with that, we go into our penultimate turn. So, what's coming up in the calendar? We've mentioned UKGE, so we can't mention that again now. So,
No, it's literally 2 days.
it's
See
in a
us
minute.
there.
I'm making the Cheesy Bangers playlist probably as you're listening to this or thinking about it.
But the bad things about the Cheesy Bangers playlist is I'm not going to be in the
I
car
know,
to enjoy
and I
the
won't be
Cheesy
able to
Bang.
listen to the Cheesy Bangers playlist because it'll be Curly's car and driver's choice, obviously.
We need to mix the car.
You can
Maybe.
join in my car
Maybe.
and just let Curly drive himself on his own.
Yeah.
I've got space.
Are you going to let me listen to the Cheesy Bangers playlist?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Adrian loves a Cheesy Banger.
Maybe what we do then is I make the Cheesy Bangers playlist, we share it on Spotify, and then we can all listen to it. And I'll just have my earphones in and I'll listen to it myself. Curly can put on his whatever he's putting on.
I love this idea.
and then we can have like a...
My favourite trip to Expo is when me and you, Bex,
We just
on our
had
own.
our karaoke classics.
We
that
had
was
Dolly
amazing.
Parton and Kenny
It was
Rogers or whatever it was, didn't we?
brilliant. Yep.
Yeah. Islands
Yep.
in the Stream. What?
Yep.
We were just duetting that
It
bad
was-
boy up the M5,
It
weren't
was
we?
brilliant, yeah.
So
I think that's one thing that
Do
Expo... Yeah, all right, I shall make the Cheesy Bangers playlist. And if the readers... What? If the listeners also want to join in the Cheesy Bangers playlist, I will...
Put it in the show notes.
We'll put a thing in. There you go.
So this is it with 2 requests: Cheesy Bangers playlist on Spotify and the photo of the shopping.
Take
trolley.
photos of shopping
So
trolleys.
that's all we need. from
Try
the listeners.
try to cut out the picture of my arse with the shopping trolley, please, people, for everybody's sake. For everybody's sake. You won't be able to fit the granny trolley picture in there.
Fair play. Fair play.
So, penultimate turn then, yes.
Yes.
What you got coming up that isn't the UKGE?
I am so excited for Apex Legends. So I've just had my pledge. Sorry, Adrian. I've had my pledge land last Friday, and I'm not going to lie, I've had a bit of PTSD sorting it out because I made a stupid attempt to try and punch it out Friday and had a games day on Saturday, which people came around. It's like a belated birthday thing. Really great. Really had a good time. But I thought, I'll start punching it out. And you know when you start these things and you go, oh my God, everything is everywhere on the table, and I didn't have enough time to finish it.
Whenever
I
you make-
have to finish it if you're going to start it.
Whenever you
know.
do any kind of organising, you take everything out the cupboard and throw it on the floor, and
yeah.
it's always a nightmare. Yeah,
And I had to
100%.
kind of I had to kind of bag up the components just so that they're together.
Yeah.
And then just kind of put stuff back in the box, higgledy-piggledy, and then get to it
That's
again on
making me feel a little bit
Sunday.
sick. It's making me feel a little bit sick.
And then I got to it on Sunday and I got it all back out and sorted it all out, and now the world is right again.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's all packed away, it's all organised, and it looks fantastic. And read the rules, the usual shenanigans. And I just can't wait to play it again because I had such a blast with it a couple of years ago. Me and Adrian played on Gaming Rules, and I've just been itching to just try it out again. And now we've got all the legends and all the different. Oh, there's so much opportunity. It's just going to be deathmatch battle royale stuff. And I'm not a big shooter guy on video games, really. I used to be, but not now. But there's something about this. I can't wait to just play it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that game, aren't I? So looking forward to it.
A couple of weeks.
Nice. Yeah. Adrian, what about you?
Couple of things. I have belatedly started really getting into StarCraft 2, which is a real-time strategy computer game. And I used to love them, sort of fell out of love with them, and then someone happened to mention it. In fact, I mentioned it because there's a miniatures game coming out of it. And someone said, well, you don't play StarCraft though, so what do you want to know about it? And then that's it. I started playing StarCraft. So I've got a couple of games of that booked in. The board gaming thing, though, is hopefully next weekend I have a game of Deep Regrets in, which our group has played a few times.
Yeah,
my friends who've got the game who are bringing it with them have played it a couple of times now. We interviewed Judson from TETX Games, who was a delight and very funny and just clearly passionate about it all. And it's great to see him getting as much love shown on all the socials and all the forums and all that lot as we felt when we demoed it, and we wanted to interview him off the back of the demo. So I'm excited to play a full game because I still haven't played the full game. I've just played the demo and talked to him about it, but really excited to be getting that to the table. And it's, as I say, it's just lovely to see people clearly falling in love with it.
It's a great game
on all the socials.
Such a good game.
Such a fun. That's the word. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's the bantery fun that you can have around. You don't have to take it seriously. It's just, it really creates a nice environment.
You can make good kind of sort of vaguely thought through choices.
Yeah.
But you still don't know what's going to be the other side of that card. And I really like that about it.
Yeah, it's just,
the artwork's fantastic. The regret cards are just hilarious.
Funny as.
Just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Are you checking out the Even Deeper Regrets at the Expo? Because they're going to be demoing the expansion.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
Right.
I'll have a talk to them then. But yeah, and I've openly talked about my dislike for all things Mr. Wibbles, the octopus.
It's not really Cthulhu, though, is it? Really,
it's not. But it's not generally a theme that I love. But I think the gameplay and the feel of it and the design, especially the we talked about it before. You know, the shadows on the back of the cards and stuff like that.
It's so well thought through.
All well thought through, and so I can't wait to give that a go fully.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
Nice. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I haven't got any games in the lineup, but I'm going to research the UKGE and what I actually want to get out of it this time. And I want to take more time to chit chat to people because I like doing that. And kind of, I just felt like I did a lot of wandering around, which I do like to do. I think there was quite a bit of time. I think Curly's friends came the next day, and so it was all that kind of, what time are we going to do this? Oh no, well, we can't get started on that thing because we might not have time to finish. So there was a lot of that kind of thing. So I did a lot of wandering, and I should have done more interactive stuff.
All right.
So I think I'm going to try and do more of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
So with that, our final turn is wrapping up. Please like and subscribe and tell all your friends about how amazing this podcast is if you think it is. And if you don't think it is, why are you still here listening to the end? We have coffee for those amazing people that decide they want to chuck us a few quid and help us upgrade our tech and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you very much for all those guys. And thank you for everyone that doesn't do that. We love having our listeners and we love you interacting with us. So please do that as much as you can. And thanks everyone. And whose turn is it?
I think it's still yours.
Yeah, it is.
You know whose turn it really is, don't you? Hashtag Expo Granny Trolley.